passe. Super l'artiste. Super. Encore un but sensationnel. That's a brilliant bit of follow-up play by Mahe. Oh my goodness me, what a shot.
Sagosen setter det hen! Han setter den! Vi i semifinale igjen!
Hello everyone and welcome to the Uninformed Handball Hour. It's Chris O'Reilly here and it's almost time for the EHF Final Four Women. All eyes on Budapest this weekend as the four best teams in the Women's Champions League go into battle in front of up to 20,000 fans. And to celebrate the big weekend on the way, we've got a big episode coming your way with three special guests. Later in the show, we've got one of the reigning champions from Györ, Bruna de Paula, is joining us to chat about her take on the Final Four, what it means to her career, and also playing alongside her partner, Cenga Fodor. Before that, though, we'll be hearing from two of our regular contributors and friends of the show on the women's side over the past few seasons. Danijela Vekic and Adrian Costeiu have been there for us to chat about the Champions League and women's handball, but never both in one place together. We're putting that right in this preview episode. And also, this is going to be your second full podcast of the week, but we've got another one coming on Patreon on Friday, and that will be exclusive for our Patreon subscribers as we continue the build-up to the Final Four and talk about the Bundesliga title eliminator this evening between Melsungen and Füchse Berlin. Big match in the title race over in Germany. So myself and Alex will be looking back at how that all transpired in Friday's morning club. But we'll start this women's EHF Final Four preview by having a chat with Danijela Vekic and Adrian Costeiu. We're very happy to welcome, I think for the first time ever, in the same space, Adrian Costeiu and Danijela Vekic, something we've been hoping to do for a while, and no better time than before the Final Four to get you both together. Danijela, you're heading off to Budapest tomorrow. You're excited for the weekend?
Of course, I'm excited, and I have to say this is my first time in Budapest, so I'm really happy to be there and to see firsthand the action. So
nice. And before we dive into the Final Four chat, wanted to ask you about the season in general and any kind of story or moment or something that has stood out for you over the course of the season. And seeing as we already know what Adrian is going to talk about, I think we can start with him, Adrian.
Yes, of course. Our favorite Romanian player, Cristina Neagu, is retiring, and she played the last match in now. But I think, speaking seriously now, I think it's been pretty exciting to see how Odense coped with this season, because there's been a lot of changes at the start of the season, and also after this season their coach will leave. So it's pretty refreshing, I would say, that a new team is in Budapest and will try to fight for the title. Of course, in the last years we saw more or less the same teams being there, and now having a new team and the new Danish team trying to get into the final and winning the title is something quite interesting to see. And of course, there's been ups and downs for them, but one highlight was, of course, their 7-goal win against Györ, which was pretty impressive to see, especially on Györ's home court. So I think this is one of the highlights. Of course, you mentioned the retiring players, and Neagu is not the only one. We have a lot of players, actually a new entry on that list, Alison Pinot now from Metz. But I think it's been a pretty special season, and I think we will have a vintage Final Four because the teams are quite well balanced.
That's a nice way to set it up. Danijela, what about you?
Oh, it's hard to kind of continue after Adrian said most of the things, but I feel like really this season is especially with all those players retiring, is a special year because we have Jovan Karadžičić also, Andrea Lekic, Cleopatra Darlot, as he mentioned, Alison Pinot, and I think that we will see Katrin Lunde on the verge of retiring. So yeah, I think it's really a special season, and I think it's going to be weird next season not having all those players in the competition.
Yeah, we thought already last summer with the Olympics that it would be kind of an end of an era, and it was for some players, the standout there being Stina Oftedal, but maybe a bunch of other players thought, okay, we'll let her have her moment in the spotlight. We'll hold on for one more season before saying farewell. But yeah, let's look ahead a little to the weekend and the four teams in action. Györ against Esbjerg in one semi-final, Metz against Odense in the other. And I want to start with the first semi-final and with Team Esbjerg, one of two eternally cursed teams, it feels, at this Final Four stage. And I think the Esbjerg question is one that year after year we've talked about. They've fallen short at the semi-final time and time again. So the opening question, which we can delve into, is, will this be the year that they make the breakthrough in the semi-final stage?
And they didn't have any luck in the draw. It's the third time in the last 4 years, I think, they're meeting Györ in the semifinals. And I think in Budapest, it's one of the toughest matchups you can get. Of course, Györ didn't win all of the Champion Leagues or the Final Fours they participated in. They're in their 10th from 11. But I think it's a very, very tough matchup because they also didn't have a lot of tough matches. Their only tough match in the month of May was the let's say final of the Hungarian league with Ferencváros. So I think it's the worst possible scenario they can find themselves in. They also lost 2 matches against Györ this season. But on the other hand, they have much more depth, having some new players from Vipers. And of course, the team is somehow built differently. So I think that could be a factor in this semifinal, comparing it to the last semifinals Esbjerg played in. They also have the experience, 4th Final Four in a row. Of course, winning a single match in those 3 years. But with Henny Reistad basically lighting up the competition, let's say in the first part of the Champions League, she's by far the top goal scorer. They have built a supporting cast around her, and I think, judging from the previous years, they also have a very good goalkeeper, or an informed goalkeeper, who was the MVP of the Euro 2024. So more or less, I think they're better positioned, but nevertheless, it will be a very, very tough game against Györ, which is the best defense in the competition. So Coach Thomas Axnier will need to find new solutions to try to break that defense, who basically plays at home,
Danijela, that strength and depth that Adrian mentioned is something that I think we've kind of beaten Esbjerg with over the years. The fact that they've had a squad that's been a little too short on players, that's one thing they've fixed. And it is the first time that Thomas Axner takes the team into the Final Four, which may in itself have a little bit of a psychological edge, because you felt with every passing year that Jesper Jensen was just getting more and more desperate with this team to get past. And maybe there's a bit of a fresh start with the team. Is that fair to say?
Well, I believe so. And I few days ago, we had to give our predictions for the EHF Final Four, and I had 2 different types. Like, I had one what my brain says and something what my heart says, and I would really like for Esbjerg to finally go through to that final. And especially, as you mentioned, some players arriving mid-season, especially those 3 from Vipers, they really changed their type of playing, and they can especially see that in Danish league, because they could only have 2 games with them in the Champions League. And I think that's something that could be their advantage against Györ in the semifinals for sure.
Mm. You mentioned there the run of games that the 2 teams have had, particularly Györ having a softer May. Is having a run of tough games and like the high intensity of the playoffs potentially a benefit for a team like Esbjerg, because they haven't lost any rhythm?
I think I don't know what to say. It's there are pluses and minuses. I think this season comes after the Olympic Games, so players did not get a full summer's rest, let's say, because they were fully in battle mode for the Olympic Games. And that could be easily accounted for at the end of the season, like in the business end of the season. Let's not forget that they also have the Danish League finals against Odense in June. So I think that's also a very important part of the season for them, because they played a lot of matches. But overall, I think Esbjerg should be a little bit more tired than Györ, because the quality of the Danish league, all in all, is a bit better than the Hungarian league, where only 2 teams play. Like in Denmark, you have a lot of teams that could potentially put problems, and we saw that in the semifinals for Esbjerg, who won by a single goal against Copenhagen. But I will insist on the fact that having more depth now, more solutions, rotating players more, can be beneficial. And I think in one aspect, having more tough matches at the end of the season can help prepare, because the team, of course, will be in the best possible shape. But on the other hand, I think that could be a factor in the closing stages of the match, especially if the match is close or goes to extra time, which is entirely possible.
Györ have had a very good season on paper. They haven't really struggled to win their group and to get through to this Final Four, but it is quite a changed team, I feel, compared to the last few seasons. Obviously, the retirement of Stina Oftedal was going to mark a bit of a transition. And it is a case of bringing some players who have been strong at an international level, but maybe not superstars coming in that you would expect usually to be brought into a team like Györ. Do either of you see any potential weaknesses in this team that Esbjerg could exploit?
Adrian mentioned they have one of the best defenses of the competition, but I feel like we saw on occasions their struggles in the attack in some of the games. So maybe that could be, the thing that Esbjerg could exploit if they enter the game with same problems we saw in few other games this season. It's a final tournament. It's just 2 games in 2 days, and sometimes the quality isn't one that actually will win it overall. So it's hard to talk about what they could exploit or not, and to see in which kind of shape players will come after such a long season, as you mentioned.
Yeah, the ranking in terms of the attack, Julian Rux put together a really nice piece, as he usually does on Euro Handball. And when it comes to an opponent-adjusted statistics of 25.3 goals every 50 possessions, which is the 7th best in the competition this season, that is offset naturally by their incredible defense, which has helped them to win the games. Do those kind of stats, as Danijela said, maybe don't count so much when you bring it into a Final Four context, and it comes down to some maybe more inspiration from individual players, or how well teams are set up to face a certain opponent, Adrian?
I think so. I think the stats matter, because you can't really push reset and just take another approach in the Final Four. On the other hand, seeing as Györ not struggled but didn't impress in the attack, I think with a good defensive approach from Esbjerg, and especially a good game from their goalkeepers, I think they could make, from Esbjerg, of course, they could make Györ struggle. And I think even if Györ improved on their wings, they didn't usually focus on their wings so much. And if you can somehow block their 9-meter line, their back players, which is very difficult to do, is not easy at all, because you have multiple types of players there. You can they can bring more or less everything, like breakthroughs or shooting or passes to the line player, and the line players are very, very experienced in Györ. Then Esbjerg I think they can do some damage to Györ, but I think maybe this will be a defensive first semifinal, a defense first semifinal, and the best defense will win it. And especially, once again, I cannot because I've seen a lot of Final Fours and a lot of matches or semifinals, finals, and mostly the team with the best goalkeeping won the title. So I think this will be very, very important, and especially in modern handball in the current situation where we don't see like finals finishing with 65, 70 goals. So I think the team which will struggle the least offensively and get those easy goals, that team will win.
Nobody says easy goals like give the ball to Henny Rystar.
Yes. Well, 136 or what now?
Yeah, but I know you're also a big fan of the goalkeeping department, always defending them, Danijela, and rightly so. Although, maybe when it comes to form for an individual goalkeeper, Esbjerg maybe have the edge, but as a goalkeeper pairing, it feels like Györ are a little bit more stable there, and also have the routined international experience that can see them through.
Well, I just want to say that I think that all 4 teams have amazing goalkeeper pairings, and it's not just them, but also Metz and Odense. So yes, we have Sandra Toft and Hatedo Sako in Györ, and yeah, as you mentioned, they are international experience, but let's be honest, Christensen and Milling are also good pairing, and as Adrian mentioned, Christensen was amazing at the age of Euro, and I think she also has this experience now that she can be the one that could deliver for Esbjerg and bring them into the finals. So before the quarterfinal match, I talked with Odense goalkeeper coach, and he said, I think from this stage every game will be decided who has the better goalkeepers.
Just to mention, before getting Katrina Lunde, Odense had the worst goalkeeping efficiency in the Champions League. So now they really did a good job. They pulled a coup with Lunde from Vipers. I mean, the disintegration of Vipers had a very profound effect of the outcome of this edition of the Champions League. So every team that really got something improved in some ways.
Yeah.
And Katrina Lunde is quite an improvement to be able to bring in. Yeah, and Odense have ended up with now 3 really solid goalkeepers, or exceptional at times goalkeepers as well. And now I think everyone is fit and ready to go. So I guess all 3 will be on the bench this weekend. Ola Erovic, the goalkeeper coach you spoke to, Danijela, I remember a very good interview, a very charismatic man as well. He's been spoilt for choice, and that is an interesting dilemma for him and for Odense going into the semi-final against Metz. Which goalkeeper is best to have there from the beginning? Do you want Lunde in from minute 1, or do you want her as the impact?
Well, I would start with Altea. I think you always have Lunde. She can come in whatever minute and she will deliver because she's amazing. So Altea really had a tough time after EHF and her concussion, and she really needed to take her time to come back. And she came back around a month ago, and since then she had really good season. And before the EHF, before that concussion, she had a good season. So I think that she's good starting choice. For me, Yaraten Holte is an amazing goalkeeper. She's still young. She has lots of room for improvement, and maybe she didn't have such a good switch from Borussia Dortmund to Odense, but I think she will show in the future what she can, and she's there, and she needs to improve. She needs to, learn as much as she can also from Lunde, and I think in future Odense could have great duo without Lunde also in the picture.
Metz coming into this with almost as poor a record at Final Fours as Team Esbjerg. They've fallen short at the semi-final stage 3 times. So they have equally poor records, both of them losing the semi-final stage 3 times in a row. But Metz are coming into this, I think, with a more stable team than they've had before. I've liked the look of them all season. I think maybe the excitement about them has dropped off a little bit, but they've been given a really great chance now. There's no better chance for them coming into in terms of getting to the final and potentially claiming the title. Do you make them slight favorites here, Adrian, in the semi-final?
And they are the only unbeaten team, right? To come here in Budapest. which is also important for their morale, of course. To answer your question, I think yes, I would make them small favorites because they have the experience of being here. Of course, we saw Ludwigsburg last season. They came, won, and progressed to the final. But I really think Metz. I really think that they have the best chance now because they really are full of confidence. They really had a project. They really relied on Emmanuel Mayonnaud. They didn't change anything. Of course, the supporting cast and everything. And it will also be the last match for a few of their players, which will want to go out on a high. So I think they should be slight favorites. But once again, in this environment in the Final Four, I don't feel like they have, how to put it, the same weight, the same experience as Györ, for example, have. They were there, they knew what they know what they need to do, but on the other hand, I don't know, some intrinsic factor is missing from their squad, but maybe they will come here and produce a very good semifinal, and I think I will be happy to see them in the final.
What do you think of them, Danijela?
Well, I agree. I would really like to see them in the final. And what you mentioned missing from the team, we know as Laura Flip and Carola Valentili are pregnant, and they will travel with the team to Budapest, but then they cannot play. So they have only one left-handed right back in the team. So throughout the French league in the last month and a half, Mayonnaud tried different things in their squad. So I think that could also be maybe their problem, but also on the other hand, their advantage against other team, because teams will not prepare maybe so much because they don't know how they will try. Because I read some interview, they have Emma Jacques now as the only left-handed right back, but they also tried with Pinot, Grandvaux, Petra Vamos in defense on that position, and in attack with Annemette Hansten and Chambertin. So they're mixing things up and they are having some, different approaches. So I think it's going to be really interesting. But I agree, some other teams have maybe more experience when it comes to those clutch matches. But I really hope they will finally get to that final.
Coming up against Odense, they are the newbies in this, but as you mentioned there, Adrian, the teams have come fresh into a Final Four in the last years. Ferencváros, one of them, even going back further, Cseszeme, did it in their first attempt. They went all the way to the title. Yes, it's encroaching on a decade now ago. But it's I guess it comes down to the personnel in there in the team, and they do have a fair amount of international experience. They have a fair amount of Norwegians in there as well, which is always quite important. So a little bit of a French-Norwegian battle going on again, and the impact of that, I think, will maybe offset any kind of fear of the unknown heading into the Final Four. And Katrina Lunde in there as someone who can kind of steady the ship, I think is really important. They are, according to Julian Rux, the least likely to win this Final Four. I want to give you the percentage chance. He and his supercomputer came up with each of the four teams, and it's pretty close. I mean, Odense, he's given a 20.9% chance of winning it. Metz, 21.1%, so very slightly ahead. Esbjerg, 24.5%, and Györ, 33.5%. All in all, no outstanding favorite according to his supercomputer. And Odense have a chance. And when you have three amazing goalkeepers and a team that know how to score goals as well, I've seen this team at different points of the season be amazing in defense, and then the next game horrendous, and amazing in attack, the next game horrendous. There is a real lack of consistency I've found with them, but that can also be a good thing, I guess, when it comes to 2 games in 2 days. You don't have to be consistent, you just have to be good for one weekend.
Yeah, it depends which version of the team you will get in the semifinals, because I think the semifinals are the most important, because winning there will give you a huge morale boost. Of course, they will have a shorter rest if they go to the final. But on the other hand, I think it's very interesting to see the progress that this team has made under Ole Gustav Gekstad, because he left Vipers he went to Odense and slowly build up to this moment. And I think it's a testament also to his work and his skills. He proved it with Vipers. Now he proved it with Odense, and he will prove it probably with the Norway national team from this summer onwards. But I think really they are like you said, the predictions with 21% and 20%. I think it's this close between the two sides, especially with Metz having two key players out due to pregnancy.
All right, it's time for predictions then, because I know, Danijela, you're a busy bee, and you have to get ready to head off tomorrow. You already gave your predictions, it seems, so you already have them in mind. So I'll just ask you to go from rank 4 to 1, and why the winner will be the winner.
Yeah, do you want from my heart or from my brain? Because it differs. So I think from number 4, I hate giving predictions because every year I got it wrong and completely wrong. So probably the team is going to be placed 4th. Maybe I will bring them luck.
Exactly.
4th place Esbjerg, 3rd Odense, 2nd Metz, and 1st Györ. Let's say it like that. I just think that if we have third place match between Odense and Esbjerg, Danish duel, Esbjerg won 2 times this year in Champions League, maybe, so it's 3rd time's charm for Odense. So that's why I put it like that.
Fair. I think Esbjerg might just go home if they lose the semi-final.
So if Danijela was wrong all the time, what should I do? Because
Speak from your heart.
Yeah, I also give the biggest chances to Györ because they have the biggest experience here. So I think it will be Györ, Metz, Esbjerg, and Odense in this order. And to justify to give some thoughts about Györ, I really think since Per Johansson came, they were more stable. They navigated better the difficult moments. In this season, they managed to come back after that loss against Odense and build up an 8-game winning streak, which is very important in the Champions League, of course. And of course, it will be a sea of green in Budapest, like every time, and that will help them push over the line. But I think it will be very close, and I think we will have some very exciting matches and probably some extra time in 1 or 2 of those matches.
We need to. It's the rule. We need to have more of that. It would be nice if we have them on Sunday. We don't want it like the European League where it's all drama on Saturday and then nothing happens on the Sunday. So let's hope it stays that way throughout the weekend. Danijela, Adrian, thank you so much for your time and for your expertise. Enjoy the weekend to come.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you to Adrian and to Danijela, setting us up very nicely for the weekend, giving their takes on the 4 teams, and interestingly, both of them putting Györ as the favourites. Györ, the side I think Adrian mentioned earlier, have been at 10 of the 11 EHF Final 4 events, now matching my own record. I had been at all 10 of them in the past, but will be missing this one, so we've got equal records in that sense. But one thing that they do that I don't have a chance to is win at the Final Fours. They managed to win the title last season after a bit of a barren spell for a club like this. Always so much expectation coming with Györ at the EHF Final Four as the quasi-home team at the event. And I had a chance last night to have a chat with Bruna de Paula, Brazilian international. Amazing player. Her one-on-one skills have been adored around the world over the last few years. I had a chance to speak to her before heading off to Budapest about what the EHF Final Four means to her, her memories from last year, and how special it is as well to be playing alongside her partner, Cenga Fodor, at club level, and looking to make it 2 EHF Final Four titles in a row. Let's hear what she had to say. Hi, Bruna.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. And you?
Good. I'm really good. Nice to be able to chat with you. When are you heading up to Budapest?
Tomorrow.
Okay, nice.
Tomorrow afternoon we are going.
Lovely. So everything's packed? You're ready to go?
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Whose job is it to pack? Or you have to take care of yourself, or you have a little help from Tsenga?
No, we together. We do
Okay.
both. Yeah.
Build up to the big weekend, the biggest weekend in handball, and one that you're familiar with now, I think already for the last couple of years. But what comes to your mind now this week within the team, the kind of atmosphere as you look forward to going up to Budapest?
So I'm really excited for this weekend because for me it's the most beautiful part of the season. We are really positive. We know we can make big things. So yes, we are really positive. I can't wait to be there. I know will be the greatest atmosphere. So yes, I'm so excited.
And when you think about last year and winning the title, it's a year ago now. Is there anything in particular that kind of stays in your mind that stands out about that weekend last year?
Yeah, I remember really good of the last year because yes, it was really hard. But I think we had a lot of experience, so this also helped us a lot. And yes, I don't have doubt in this year will be the same or even harder.
Playing with Györ, there's like that expectation always that the team is going to be there, and I guess a kind of expectation from the crowd that you're going to win it every year. You did win it last year, which I think would have felt like a long time coming for the club. But do you feel that kind of expectation within the team as well, that you aim for, of course, to win the title, but maybe as you're a Györ player that you expect nothing less than victory?
Yes, of course. We just expect for the win and to bring the trophy home. But we know it will be really hard. We need to fight. We need to give everything. But yes, I think we have quality for that. But first of all, we need to show it in the field because I think in a Final Four that doesn't have a favorite team who will win. I think everyone can win.
Yeah, maybe you can share a little bit about your thoughts of the other three teams. Everyone is very excited about your semi-final with Esbjerg, two of the maybe greatest teams of the last few years, but they're also a team that have a lot of frustration, almost like a curse when it comes to Budapest. So what's your thoughts on them?
I think even though we last year also we played the semi-final against them and was really hard, and for me Esbjerg is one of the best team. We respect them a lot. Just maybe they didn't have luck yet, and I hope it will not be this year either. Yeah, but yes, we know they are a really strong team, and they also have everything to win.
Their goalkeeping department and with Henny Rijstad in the attack are kind of two of the main things that people have talked about. But your team this season has been incredible also on the defensive side. I think that has been one of the really impressive things about Györ this season. Is it difficult when you come up against like a single player like Henny to maybe not try and focus too much on her, even though you also know you have to stop her somehow?
Yes, we know Henny, she can make the difference because she's a really good player. But we cannot forget the others also because they have a really good level. We know we need to pay attention, but in the end, it's the team. We need to prepare for everything.
On the other side, you have Odense and Metz waiting in the other semi-final. Odense you've played this season already, and Metz, of course, you know very well, some former teammates of yours.
Yes. We played against Odense, and we know also it's really hard games, really physical games against them always. And we lost at home the last game when we play against them. But yes, I think it was not our day also, and this can happen. But Odense has really good team, and Metz also. Like for me, Metz always impressed me because I think they show more than we expect. And they surprise. So I think also Manu, the coach, he's really good and he's really smart. So that's why also, and they have also amazing players.
Yeah, I mean it's great that they have stuck with him for so long as well. He's a great man, and they're also a team that maybe has a little bit of a curse, it feels, with semi-finals. So maybe something will change in one side.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a little bit about your kind of continuing a Brazilian tradition at the Final Four. There's been some great Brazilian players over the years, like Ana Paula Rodrigues, Maisa Pessoa, and of course in Györ, Eduarda Duda Amorim, who have done some great things in Budapest. As a young Brazilian player growing up, and you were playing alongside some of these players, and in your early days in France, what did the Final Four mean to you looking at it?
The Final Four means a lot because it's something what I always wish to have in my life, and I think I'm lucky to have this. I now will be my third time, so yes, it's a dream. It's that's why I play to be in a high level of the handball, and then the Final Four is the biggest thing I think in the world. So I'm just really happy with what I got and what life gave me. So yes, I'm just happy and grateful for this.
You also had to work clearly very hard to get there, and it wasn't an automatic rise to this level, to playing with teams like Metz and Györ. You had to put in some hard years in Brazil, obviously, and also in France to kind of get to that level. Was it something that was clear to you that you would get there eventually, or what was your process like while you were playing in France?
Yeah, like you said, was and is a lot of work still. But yes, since I went out from Brazil, this was my goal. And when I arrived in Metz, I saw how is the Champions League level. So I'm proud of myself, but also I'm happy for the people around me who could help me to arrive here in this level.
Yeah, I remember back in 2021, I was speaking to Anna Gross at a Final Four afterwards, and she was trying to quiz me on who the best or most difficult player to defend against in the world is, right?
Yeah.
And eventually we found your name, and we agreed on that. And she was saying it to prove how good a defender she was, because she played against you that season, and she said she did well. But I mean, your one-on-one abilities as well in attack is something that I think so many people get excited about. But I guess over the years as well, so many people become familiar with, and also defenders and the opponents become familiar with. So how has that been for you, as everyone gets to know how you move, also to kind of redevelop yourself, I guess?
Yeah, like you said, the people start to know me, but yes, I work a lot to improve myself in many ways, because I don't want to be only the girl who can just make one by one. I want also to shoot a bit more from outside. I want to play more with the line players. So every day I work really hard to improve myself, because I want also to surprise the defender. Because like you said, they know me, but still I think it's hard sometimes to stop me. So I try to work hard and to improve. Like this will be harder for the defender.
Yeah, well, it clearly still works, and you're still improving in that regard. But I guess also when you join a team like Györ, you have to kind of adopt different roles as well, right? And kind of settled into the team in different ways, because you might not be the only star player who can do something, but you have to fit in with 5 or 6 other backcourt players and gel. And I think the flexibility in Györ's backcourt is one of the most impressive things. Do you feel like you have settled in that regard over the last 2 years?
Yes. When I arrived here, like you said, was a bit different, because it's all of the players who is here. It's one of the best in the world. So I could more share the responsibility with everyone, and everyone can make the difference. So it's make even easier to play, because everyone can make the difference.
Nice. And I guess another big aspect, special aspect of playing in this team is that you're playing alongside your partner in Senga Fodor, and I wonder, on a week like this, is it difficult to not talk about the handball, or is it easy for the two of you to keep your minds off it?
Yeah, first of all, I think I'm so lucky to play with her and to share the life with, spend my life with her, because that's nice. We speak about the same things all the time, and yeah, now in the end, now when it comes to Final Four, you try to not but avoid a bit about this conversation, because we get a bit stressful, but you wait so much for this moment. But yes, we are so in the positive, we are so excited, and we can wait. And like I said, I'm so lucky to share this with her.
Nice. For this weekend, you mentioned the other teams and how strong they are. Everyone knows each other very, very well. So what do you think the key thing is that needs to go your way? What needs to click for Györ to come away with the title again this weekend?
Yes, I think we need to play like we did all the season. We need to keep our base, because this is really important, and also the experience will be really important in this moment. But yes, I think we need to fight to give everything what we have, because we know it's only 2 games, so we need to do everything for no regret after. And the key is to who will be the most experienced and who will play the best handball.
On the experience side, you have some players that came in this season, of course, internationally experienced players, but maybe haven't had this precise experience before. Has that been a conversation within the team and also with Per, and kind of getting everyone ready for what is coming this weekend?
Yes, we talk a lot, because yes, we need everyone, and we need also to be good in our mind, because it's really important. We know in the Final Four it's a big show, so we need also to keep our focus in the main thing, because it's the main thing is to win. So we know it's really nice, everything, the atmosphere, but yes, we need to keep our focus.
Well, it's going to be a great weekend. Looking forward to seeing you in action again. And thanks again for your time. Safe short trip to Budapest tomorrow, and have a great weekend. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you to Bruna de Paula, and thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed this EHF Final Four Women preview. I think it sets us up very nicely for the weekend to come. I mentioned it at the beginning of the show. I'll mention it again to join us on Patreon if you haven't already. Patreon.com/handball hour. We'll continue the build up and look back at tonight's big Bundesliga match between Füchse Berlin and MT Melsungen. That's coming out on Friday. But until then, everyone, take care. Goodbye.